You may think of electric cars as a modern creation, but they're not. First car was built in 1886, and within a decade or so, electric cars have become really popular. And in fact, as the 19th century was turning into the 20th century, you had a race between steam, the internal combustion engine, and electricity to power cars. And one such electric car is this. I'm joined by Darren Cunningham from the Isle of Man Motor Museum to tell me all about this fabulous machine. What is it?
So this is our Columbia Electric. It dates from 1903, if you go by the chassis number and the details on it. There's some features that might indicate it's either been modified or upgraded or produced maybe as late as 1909. Columbia were one of the major manufacturers of electric vehicles at that point. And this is kind of a fairly typical car that they made. Looks very much like the sort of the horseless carriage without the,
Very much so. It's almost like you could expect Dobbin to be pulling it.
Well, exactly.
It's very much the crossover with this kind of phaeton style body.
Yeah.
So it's a Columbia from 1903/1909. Yeah. What model is it? What power is it? So what's the mechanical configuration?
This particular one's known as a Mark 31. That was how they named all of their cars. It was Mark 31.
So by 1903 they'd done 31 iterations already.
And by 1909 they were up to Mark 70 or 80. And they, as electric vehicles were becoming less successful, we'll say, they also moved and pivoted into petrol-powered cars as well. Okay. So there's Mark petrol cars.
So did Columbia offer lots of different models? Did they keep doing facelifts for all these different marques?
It was basically different body styles.
Right.
So there was little runabouts or enclosed saloons or handsome cabs. They did sort of some small commercial vehicles as well, and all of them just got a new marque number.
Okay. So we've got a very, very simple body design. We've got, what's happening here?
So up front here we've got now it's two modern 12-volt batteries in there.
Right.
And there's another two behind the seat.
Okay.
So it's a 48-volt setup. The motor's around 1700 watts, something like that, which was enough to give it top speed of 15 mile an hour and about a 40-mile range.
Okay. And what about transmission?
So it's chain drive from the motor to the diff, no gearbox on it. You have a speed selector, and there's a transmission brake and a set of mechanical brakes on the back axle, and that's it.
Leaf spring on each corner, yes. Yep. Cartwheels. Yep. And where was this positioned back in the day? Was this kind of a premium product, or was it meant to be quite entry level?
It was somewhere in the middle. It wasn't especially premium, but equally it wasn't, the cheap end of the market. And they did actually market these more for female drivers, because they were much easier to sort of hop in and go rather than having to crank over a sort of temperamental ICE engine.
Right, okay. I'm really intrigued. 25 miles an hour, you say? No, 15 miles an hour, you say. 25 is obviously a little bit optimistic. Yeah. 15 miles an hour. I reckon with this in place, if we can get the wind behind us, we might just get up to 15.
We'll see. We'll give it a go.
I think if the wind's against us,
no chance.
15 miles an hour is just not going to happen. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
So here we've got our Tesla charging bays, which our Columbia Electric will just no doubt plug straight into and charge up there. In the background we've got the Citroen Ami. It's got a brand new EV, and then we've got a 120-year-old EV, and then Darren and I are going to take the Columbia for a spin. So this is a 1903, 121 years old.
Yep.
And we're going to give it a spin, and thankfully I've taken out my life insurance, got it up to date, although I suspect 4 miles an hour will be the most we're going to get out of this, but we'll see. I'll have my digital speedometer handy, and we'll see how we get on.
Perfect. Let's get in.
Come to see the museum when it's shut.
Right. Okie dokie, we're all ready?
So let's do, so you've got a...
I've got a speed controller down here.
Okay.
Which gives me forward and then reverse.
Yeah.
So it's in neutral at the moment there. And then obviously tiller steering here in front of me. And then down on the floor we've got two different brake pedals. One is the service brake, mechanical brakes on the rear axle, and then the other is a transmission brake on the output of the electric motor.
Right, okay. Yeah. And then there is What's going on down there
So
then?
that's
So we've got a voltmeter and an ammeter
Yes, yeah,
parameter.
So the voltmeter is effectively just state of charge almost. So it's
Yes.
showing 48 volts there,
Yeah.
which is what it runs on. Runs on now. And then the ammeter, there's no charging mechanism on it, so it will only ever show discharging
Right.
while we're going.
Okay. Right, well, let's go then. Let's see how we get on.
There we go. And that's us onto top gear now.
Right, okay. I can just see Jeremy Clarkson now in his Columbia Electric tearing through the Cotswolds.
I'm sure there was a Clarkson of the early 1900s who was complaining about EVs as well.
Ah, well, Toad of Toad Hall. Poop, poop. Right, so we are flat out. This is it.
Yep.
And we are doing a nice heady 9 miles an hour. Oh, can we get to double figures? Can we manage it? Not with our air brake on. So actually, that's something that we didn't mention, is that we have this marvelous roof enveloping us, which can't quite get all of it in there. So this pram hood does just collapse like a pram hood.
Yes, really does. Just drops down behind our heads here.
And so when it's up, it acts as an air brake or a sail, depending which way the wind's blowing.
Exactly.
And we've got this marvellous side window here for excellent visibility. So we can see through the side windows. And an enormous back window which isn't heated, and then that would drain the batteries that much faster, of course. So do you have any idea how much juice is left in the batteries from your two instruments down there?
No, it's only you're going on voltage really. So at the moment it's still showing sort of 46 volts there. So we're not discharging a huge amount from when we set off. But it's more that if you drove it more, I'd probably have more of a feel for it. But
Yes.
It's when we put in different sets of batteries pretty much every time we use it, depending on what we've got available for it.
Right.
And obviously, if they're slightly different capacities, it does affect how much the range is used.
He's going for it. Going for a maximum speed run.
That's it. I think the wind is behind us now.
Okay, so let's see what we can get up to on our speedometer. 13 miles an hour.
Well, I think in road test reviews from the in period, I think it said a top speed of 15 was claimed, so it hasn't lost too much in the 100 odd years.
So this would have been bought as an urban runabout, wouldn't it? I mean, nobody would have taken this any kind of distance. Was it 40 miles an hour was claimed, something like that as a range?
A 40-mile range,
40 miles
yeah,
an hour,
was
which
claimed.
is probably half that in reality.
Yeah.
No regenerative braking, of course,
No.
so every time you brake, you're losing energy.
Exactly. They like Columbias were very popular city cars. They were one of the most popular sort of cars in production in that period in the States. And those cars used as taxis in New York, and they had sort of battery swapping facilities and things like that. It's interesting reading about them. It's all the same kind of things you read about modern EVs and the issues people have with them. It's also funny when you're driving how quickly you just get used to not having a steering wheel and just using a tiller all the time.
Yeah, I guess it feels quite natural.
Yeah.
So as a Tesla driver, your everyday transport's a Tesla.
Yep.
I suppose that's one end of the spectrum and this is at the other. Are there any similarities whatsoever? I guess you've got the quietness.
It's the quietness. It's you just kind of hop in and go. It's very smooth. All the torque comes in, effectively immediately. Simple controls. There's no gearbox in either of them, obviously. But yeah, other than that, the performance is definitely different in
This
this.
hasn't got such a big touchscreen either.
No, the infotainment system's not great, I'll admit. A lot of fresh air though, which is nice.
Yeah, you certainly don't need air conditioning or
No.
climate control, that's for sure. It feels like we're going against the wind now and it's
It
all
does.
tailing off. Good job we weren't out earlier in the week when it was 50-mile-an-hour winds here.
Yeah.
We'd have probably struggled to get moving at all.
Well, the other direction we've been going 50
Well,
mile an hour.
true.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah, the brakes would have been burned out by the end of the first straight. Right, here we are, two motoring pioneers returning home from an arduous journey.
Exactly.
So we went from one end of the industrial estate to the other and back again.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's quite something.
Yeah.
Right, well,
And we still have charge as well.
we still have charge.
Yeah.
Okay, but probably not
Not a huge
a
amount.
lot.
No.
Okay, so time to get those batteries on charge and I'll go and edit this video.
Perfect.